Hey, good morning, Miles City. So great to see you, Maya, here. And we have Selena with us this morning. Selena, so good to be with you.
You too.
Oh, we are so glad that you guys decided to make us part of your weekly rhythm. And we're excited to experience Sunday with you.
Yes, and speaking of experiencing Sunday, we have something special just for the kids that are running around your house right now. So go grab a device, go to milescity.com/kids, and we have an experience just for them.
That's right. Let them experience Kids City while you experience Miles City. Well, if this is your first week here, we definitely don't want to be your last. And so we have this thing called the 3-week challenge that we want to extend to you. And that simply is just coming back for 2 more weeks because guess what, Sal?
They're here.
They're already here. You're already on week 1. We really believe that if you make this part of your rhythm, you'll get a better feel of who we are, and it will also help you on your journey.
Well, last week we had week 2 of Behind the Masked Singer. And let me tell you, Hippo kind of stole my heart a little bit.
I mean, Hippo was pretty amazing. The flexibility, the dance moves, the vocals were so high. I mean, they were super crisp. Well, guess what? You guys voted. So this week, we get to see the results of your voting. So make sure that you grab your favorite snack or candy and take a look at what happens at week 3 of Behind the Masked Singer.
Good morning, Miles City. Welcome to another week of Behind the Masked Singer. I am your host, Foxy Boxy, and I'm here with the Coke to my Cola, the Doctor to my Pepper, and the Mountain to my Dew, JTC. JTC, how you doing today?
I'm doing super good.
You know, it's my favorite time every week to be here with you.
Oh, mine too. We're so excited, aren't we?
We are. And so this week, last week we had 3 contestants perform, and we get to find out this week who was eliminated. It was so many great performances last week. Remind me, who was your favorite?
I would say the llama. With the fluffy costume. I think she did a really good job.
He or she did a great job. And so we get to find out what your results are. And so why don't we check out those results right now? You know, it seems like in second place, the Bluebird won. Second place.
Really?
Bluebird,
Wow.
Backstreet Boys. I mean, you crowd went crazy. And it looks like our winner was Hippo. Man, going crazy right there as well. It was the final countdown. And so it seems, sadly, the llama.
Oh, it's the llama.
The llama. I mean, you're 2
no.
for 2, it seems. And so we sadly have to say goodbye to our llama. And so today, let's unmask that llama. Llama, let's come on out here. Let's find out who you are. Let's see. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited. Llama, you can go ahead and take you off your mask. And who is it? I'm a little confused. Let's see. Oh, my gosh, it's Travis's wife, Jen Whitaker. Oh, my gosh. Jen, how was performing?
Oh, it was quite the journey.
It was. Wow. I mean, man, thank you so much for performing. Thanks for being a team sport and playing with us. And so, Llama, any final words for the crowd?
I'm just sorry I cannot grace you with my presence this week.
Well, thank you so much, Llama. You can head on out. And so, thank you so much. Oh, what a beautiful performance, JTC.
It was. She did a really good job.
That's right. Well, it looks like we are on to the semifinals. And we've got 2 people performing today. And we remember we've got our shark, and we also have our second contestant, JTC.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, you know who that is?
The Minion, right?
The Minion, that's right. And so we have the shark and the Minion, and I'm excited. So here we go. Let's get up for the shark.
All right, stop, collaborate and listen. Ice is back with a brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly, flow like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the lights and all glow. To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle. Dance, rush the speakers that booms. I'm killing your brain like a poisonous mushroom. Deadly, when I play a dope medley. Anything less than the best is a felony. Love it or leave it, you better gangway. You better hit bullseye, kid, don't play. If there was a problem, oh, I'd solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby.
baby, right? I mean, I was like ready back out there like shark, baby, right? Like, I mean, the shark was just going crazy. I love your dance moves. It's wonderful. JTC, I mean, again, shark just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, he's rocking. I mean, he chose to do rap, which is like not so easy in this costume, but he did it.
He did it. I mean, it's been so amazing. So let's get up for Shark. Shark, you can hop out of here, swim out of here. Hopefully you don't eat anybody on the way out of here. Well, hey, maybe you watched that and you're like, Shark again, knocked it out of the park, got to put them on through. Well, then you can vote Shark to 94,000. Just go ahead and pull that phone out, text the word Shark to 94,000. Well, hey, we are just getting started, JTC.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we got one more performance. It's going to be epic. And so why don't you take a look at our next contestant?
Stumble out of bed and I stumble in the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition, yawn and stretch and try to come to life. Jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping, out on the streets the traffic starts jumping, with folks like me on the job from 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living, barely getting by. It's all taken and no giving, they just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. 9 to 5 for your service and devotion. You would think that I would deserve a fat promotion. Want to move ahead, but the boss won't seem to let me. I swear sometimes that man is out to get me.
Whoa! Oh my gosh, another great performance, and just thank you so much, JTC. I mean, what were your thoughts?
Wow, I love the jumps. You know, I love watching it. It's so cute.
It's so cute, right? Well, hey, if the Minion made you go bananas, then you need to vote the word Minion to 94,000. And so go ahead, pull that phone out and text Minion to 94,000. Minion, why don't you go on and hop out of here? Thanks so much for joining us this week. Minion. Maybe you're watching and you're like, you want to see Shark in the finals. Well, then just go ahead and pull that phone out, text the word Shark to 94,000. But again, there was the Minion.
There was a Minion, yes.
I mean, the Minion was shaking and going crazy, and maybe you're like, I want that Minion in the finals. Well, then you can text Minion to 94,000. Either way, we've got to push one to the finals. Hopefully, we'll find out soon because we need your help. Isn't that right, JTC?
It is so right.
And JTC, you know, I'm just loving those shades. So what do you got, some final notes for us as we go away?
I'm feeling the need for more speed. Oh, yeah, baby.
Well, there you go. Need for speed and need for singing. Well, we'll see you next week on another week of Behind the Masked Singer.
Well, that was really incredible, Selena. I mean, it's kind of sad to see Llama go, right?
Yeah, that's a bummer.
They were very colorful, and as we know, it's Jen. It was really fun to see her. But Shark and Minion,
that's some tough competition right there.
I mean, they really took it to the next level. Well, what you have to do now is make sure that you vote so you can see your favorite go through to the next round.
Well, Maya, I'm still concerned about these Boston baked beans. Terrible candy that you're eating.
I mean, they're kind of hard, and I think that beans are old on.
I mean, they're probably sweet and salty, though, so...
I don't even know why I'm eating these.
You don't want that kind of candy, but this Friday, Boo at the Burrows is back, and we have great candy. Great. Not no Boston baked beans. We have some delicious, amazing candy to be giving out to all these kids. They'll go home with a ton. But Boo at the Burrows this Friday, 6:30 to 8:30, right here in our warehouses. This place is going to be transformed into something you've never seen before. So make sure you grab your family, get those costumes.
Oh, yeah.
And invite friends, neighbors, coworkers. I mean, just come out for a great time. So this Friday, Boo at the Burrows.
Well, that's right, Sal. And don't worry, we have taken all the necessary precautions to make sure that you have a safe time, but a great time. So we can't wait to see you this Friday at Boom at the Burrows. Well, one of our favorite things that we do here is baptism, to see people go public with their faith journey and to tell their story. And today we actually have a really great story of someone's life change.
This is pretty special for you, huh?
It is pretty special. This is actually my oldest daughter, Charlotte, telling her story of life change and going public with her faith. So take a look at Charlotte's story.
Before I found Jesus, or I wanted to know Jesus as the king of my life, I found myself in a lot of situations that caused me to lose a lot of people that I loved, and it hurt me a lot. I would get irritated with some of them, and I would talk about them behind their backs, and they would eventually find out, and they would get upset and mad, and they didn't want to be my friend anymore. God really got a hold of me when my dad got a job offer to work in ministry at Miles City. I just thought that it wasn't fair and that God was taking everything away from me, and he was angry and he just took everything away from me. And then I felt alone a lot of the time, and I just felt like I had nobody to lean on and talk to, and I had nobody. I tried to pray, but sometimes that didn't help because I felt like God wasn't there either. I felt like he wasn't answering me, and he just disappeared. I felt like a part of me was restored, almost. I felt like God was finally there, and it made me feel better, and it made me, I guess, happier that I had someone or something to lean on and talk to about when I was angry or upset. He's definitely more present in everything that I do. He's put a lot of people in my life to help me go closer to him and have a better relationship with him than I had. My name is Charlotte Williams. I'm getting baptized today because I want people to know and experience the love of Jesus.
Well, thank you, Charlotte, for sharing your story. I just love a teenager being bold enough to share what God has done in her life. And maybe you're sitting there thinking, baptism is my next move, and we would love to journey with you through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So if that is your next move, the best way to do that is either email info@milescity.com or fill out our online Connect card, and we will get a hold of you and walk together with you in that journey. Speaking of connecting, filling out a Connect card, that's something we really value here at Miles City. And a great way to do that is to fill out our online Connect card. All you have to do is text the word Connect to the number on the screen. And basically that just helps us connect with you, helps you connect with us, because that's really what we value here. Moving together is better, and we can't move together unless we connect together. And so make sure you take a chance to do that. Also, if this is your first time filling out that Connect card, what happens is when you do that, we will donate $5 on your behalf to a local food pantry. So when you do that, it's not only impacting your life, but it's impacting the lives of those in your city. So make sure you take a chance to do that today.
Yeah, and that's a way that you get to be generous just by filling out a Connect card and connecting with us. And we really value generosity around here. And one of the cool things we got to do this week was deliver lunch to 2 different elementary schools right in our community.
Yeah, so
and we
cool.
have a few more lined up for Lion in the coming weeks. And we couldn't do that without your generosity. And we just wanted to appreciate the teachers and the staff that have been working so hard through this unique season.
Very unique.
And so they were so thankful, and we were just so happy to be able to do that. But again, we couldn't do it without your generosity. So know when you give here at Miles City, you're not giving to the church, you're giving through the church. And so we so appreciate it. And there's 2 ways you can give, and those instructions are on the screen.
Well, as Selena said, we just want to say thank you for being so generous. Last week, we were in week 2 of our new series called Behind the Mask. And Travis was talking about our virtue, audacious care, through the avenue of asking yourself, what pieces of the armor of God are you not putting on that you should? So it was a really challenging week. I took some of those challenges, with myself through this week, and we hope that you did too. And so this week we're in week 3, and Travis is talking about our virtue, see then serve. And that's just what we got to do last week, like you were talking about, taking those lunches to teachers and putting others before ourselves. So we're really excited to be with you for week 3 of Behind the Mask. Take it away, Travis.
I tell you what, sometimes during this season, when we're masking up, I don't know how you're masking up, but sometimes I like to mask all the way up to kind of, shock people's attention when I go to different stores, like when I'm going to Starbucks and I get my vanilla sweet cream cold brew with just one pump of vanilla, and I'm ordering it, and the barista behind the counter's looking at me a little concerned, doesn't know whether to laugh or not, and then asks me, is it difficult for you to see? Like, how do you even see? I was like, yes, ma'am, it is difficult. But listen, everyone's saying, don't touch your face. Don't touch your eyes. We got to protect our eyes. This thing's airborne. We got to be careful. We got to be careful. And then I kind of mosey down the aisle there and pick up my drink, and I still maintain the mask. I still keep it up. And then I go and I just start drinking my mask. I just start drinking right through my mask, and the baristas are laughing, and I do it because it makes my kids laugh. And during this season, we try not to take ourselves a little too seriously and have a little fun during this time of our lives. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Behind the mask, is this going to get political? Don't worry, we're keeping it spiritual. We're keeping it personal when it comes. Because here's the deal. We're doing this series Behind the Mask because before COVID-19, there's always been invisible masks that all of us put on. All right, we all have gotten really, really good, and we've been reminded of it in the book of 1 Samuel, that we know that we as humans judge on the outward appearance, but God, what does he do? The Lord looks on the heart. We can fool everyone, right, in the room, but we cannot fool our God. And so what we've been doing over the past few weeks is we've been asking the question is, what's truly going on inside of us? What's behind our mask? What's going on inside of our heart? What are the virtues that are stirring up inside of us? And at Miles City, we have 5 key virtues. And these virtues are the attitudes in which we go about our vision, which is helping people move towards God. And so we've talked about extra mile virtue. We've talked about our audacious care virtue. And today we're going to dive into the virtue of see, then serve. And here's our definition of see, then serve. It says this: when we see a need, we strive to meet that need. We put others before ourselves and do not think of ourselves better than others. We are willing to do any task for the sake of the mission, even if it's not our assigned task. When we see a need, we meet that need. When we see a need, we meet that need. And all of us, right, it's really interesting, during this season, our eyes, right, are telling a lot about us. Like, because when we're covering up our mouths, it's hard to get facial expressions of, are you smiling or you're not smiling? It's hard to really even tell. And so our eyes tell so much about how a person is feeling or what's going on. I mean, look at these eyes for a second. This is Maya, our Lion location director, and he's just staring like right into my soul, Maya. I can just feel, it's like unbelievable. But behind our retinas, when we see, and behind the organ of our eyes, such an amazing organ, right? What does it do? It registers to our brain. And when we see things, then all of us have a choice. When we see things, we have to make a choice multiple times in a day. What we see, we have to decide, are we going to serve? Or are we going to swerve out of the way, if you know what I mean? Are we going to see, then serve with the open hand? Or are we going to see, then swerve? And that is a decision that we have to make over and over again. The problem is, if you're like me, we often see through the lens of me. I see through the lens of me. I wake up in the morning and I think, me, me, me. When I walk through the day, I think me, me, me. It's always through the lens of me. And so we have to make a decision. Are we going to be known for people that see and respond with serve? Or are we going to be people that are known for being people that see and swerve? And come on, I mean, if you're honest, right, don't you want to be known for someone that's willing to lend a helping hand? I mean, the people that I love most in my life and that I admire the most are those that are willing to drop everything and serve. It's amazing. I admire that. I look up to that. So how do we be people that are more disciplined and not just being about ourselves, but are wanting to help serve others? Jesus talks a lot about the idea of how to, make it through life and get to the end zone in a good way. He talks about fulfillment of life when we're here on earth. And he talked a lot about the importance of serving, and that's where we get true fulfillment while we're here on earth. Here's what he says in Mark chapter 10, verses 43 and 45. He says, "But whoever would be great among you must be your servant, and whoever would be first among you must be a slave of all. For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. Jesus taught this idea. He preached this idea all the time. But not only did he teach it, he modeled it. He gave us a great example of it. He gave us a pattern for what it means to truly serve. And so today we're going to dive in. What does it look like for us to be people that don't just see then swerve, but actually see then serve? But before we dive in, I want to pray for you and I want to pray for me. Father, thank you for joining us here today, wherever we're watching, whether on the road, on vacation, in our houses. God, I ask that you would help us not to miss it, that we would engage right where we're at, and that your scriptures, the power of your words, will pop off the pages to us in such a unique way. So I pray this in the power of your Son's name, Jesus. Amen. Amen. Well, hey, I want to invite you to grab your phone, grab the scriptures, open up your device to the book of John. The book of John is one of the Gospels. It's in the New Testament. You got the Old Testament and the New Testament. It's the fourth book, and you got Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It's the story of Jesus. And let me set the stage. We'll be in John chapter 13. And let me set the stage for you. Jesus, at this time, had his disciples and large crowds that were following him. People were amazed by Jesus. People were so excited that Jesus was here because he was fulfilling the prophecies that a coming Messiah was going to come and help the Jewish nation. And so they thought in their minds that, he was going to come back like a powerhouse and just take over the government, take over the rulers at that time. And so, they've got Jesus in their corner, so they're getting excited. I mean, Jesus is there. He has the power to heal people. He's got the power to control the weather. We've got Jesus in our corner. Game is over. Let's do this. And so the drama's building. It's the last week of Jesus' life. They don't know what's coming next. And here's what happens. John chapter 13, here's what it says. Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going back to God, he rose from supper. So they're eating together this wonderful meal. And at this dinner, he stands up and he laid aside his outer garments, and taking a towel, tied it around his waist. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around him. Jesus, the one who has all heaven and authority is under him, he takes his robe off and picks up a towel and a bucket and begins to dissolve dirt and animal feces that are stuck in the crevices of his disciples' toes, and he begins to wash them. Why? Why would he do that? Because he wanted us to know that serving others is life-giving, and that your greatest experiences on this earth will be found behind the acts of your service. Serving others is life-giving. I want that to just kind of sink in for a moment wherever you're watching. And you can say this with me. Say this, repeat this. Serving others is life-giving. Serving others is life-giving. I've been a Jesus follower for many years, and I've taught a lot of messages. I've sung on many stages for a lot of people. I've had this on my resume. I've done this. I've done that. I've done all these things, and they're really, really cool. But I'm telling you that when I serve in my acts of service, that has been where true life-giving has happened in my life. And here's the deal. It was Jesus serving that actually gave us life. If you've given your life to Jesus, it was his acts of service that has actually given us life. And Peter was starting to misunderstand this, as you see in the next part of the text. It says, he came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, do you wash my feet?" Jesus answered him, "What I am doing you do not understand now, but afterwards you will understand." Peter said to him, "You shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered him, "If I do not wash you, you have no share with me." It continues. Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head." And Jesus said to him, "The one who has bathed does not need to wash except for his feet, but is completely clean, but is completely clean. Basically, Jesus was saying, unless I serve you, you cannot have life. Unless I serve you, you cannot be washed clean. I mean, let's let this sink in for a moment. Acts of servanthood, the act of servanthood of Jesus saved your life. The act of servanthood, if you've given your life to Jesus, it was his act of servanthood that actually saved your life. It's not you obeying the commandments. It's not you having a religious routine. It's not you overcoming your addiction that you're battling. It's not your perfect attendance. No. It's Jesus washing your feet. It's Jesus washing you clean, but even more so, it's allowing Jesus to wash something even more nasty than our disgusting feet. It's him washing our sin. Oh, it's washing our shame. Jesus took our sin and he carried it to the cross. And what's interesting about Jesus is maybe for a moment he had the cross, but then he didn't finish carrying the cross because he didn't really have a cross to carry. He was carrying our cross. He was carrying your cross. He was carrying my shame, my lies, my lust, my pride. He carried it for me. Acts of service are life-giving, and they are still life-giving today. Let me say that again. Acts of service are life-giving, and they're still life-giving today. And I want to call a couple people out just to remind them of how your service is life-giving. I think of Tony Doring and Jerry Ojeda. Tony coming in weekly, setting this building up at Miles City and working on our safety team, protecting people. I think of Jerry Ojeda and our store, making our store nice and being a tour guide, showing your smile for those that need some contagious joy in their life. Your service is life-giving, helping people have a great experience to move towards God. I think of Faye Crampton. Faye, oh, Faye, you're amazing. I think of Faye Crampton and Jim and Cindy Cooper. Oh, you guys are incredible. Opening up your homes week in and week out, allowing people to come into an environment to move towards God in your city group. Thank you. Thank you. Your service is life-giving. I think of Jesse Faulkner and Donnie McBride. Drive leaders or student leaders coming in Wednesday night, every Wednesday night, having fun with these kids, jumping up and down with these kids, middle school or high schoolers, investing in them, in their city group, having great, real, below the surface conversations. Your service for the next generation is life-giving. I want to call out Daniel Kasprinsky. Come on, Daniel Kasprinsky and Rachel Orchard. I mean, Rachel Orchard, the way that you hold these babies week in and week out in the nursery. Danielle, as you invest in the next generation, from kindergartners through fourth grade, both of you, not only investing in them, but allowing parents to have some uninterrupted time so that they can move towards God. It's working. Your service is life-giving. It's working. Serving brought us life 2,000 years ago, and that service is still bringing us life today. It's working, it's working, it's working. Let's keep going. It says this in John 13, verse 10. And you are clean, but not every one of you. For he knew who was to betray him. That was why he said, not all of you are clean. Who's he talking about? Judas. Judas, who had set the wheels in motion to betray Jesus. And even though Jesus knew this was happening in the heart of Judas, what did he do? He got down on his knees, picked up the bucket, and washed his feet. And I just want to ask you a question. Who's your Judas? I might seem a little bold, but come on. Who's your Judas? Who do you need to serve who has maybe betrayed you? Now, maybe that seems a little too much, like, okay, but let's kind of take it from another angle. Judas was in the camp with Jesus for a lot, and I got to imagine that Judas probably may have been a difficult person for Jesus to deal with. And in the humanness of Jesus, maybe he didn't even want to bother with him sometimes. Which poses the question for me this week, and I want to pose it to you, is who is that difficult person that you know you need to serve? And if you're sitting next to that person on the couch, maybe this isn't the good time to give them the elbow, but who is that difficult person that you know that you need to serve? I want you to process that this week, because Jesus set the example, being willing to wash those feet to people that are going to betray us or who have betrayed us or just difficult people in our lives, to still serve them. It continues. When he had washed their feet and put on his outer garments and resumed his place, he said to them, "Do you understand what I have done to you?" And it's probably like, is this like a trick question? "You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. If then your Lord and teacher have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you also should do just as I have done to you." Following Jesus looks like serving others. Following Jesus looks like serving others. If you proclaim Jesus as your Savior, serve. If you want to be the greatest, serve. If you want to truly look like Jesus, serve. Following Jesus is serving like Jesus. Has he served you? Has he served you? Then if he has served you, then how are you serving your house? How are you serving your spouse if you're married? How are you serving your children? How are you serving your parents? How are you serving your grandparents? How are you serving your siblings? Has he served you? Then how are you serving God's house? Not just your house, but what about God's house? What does that look like for you to serve God's house? If he served you, then we need to serve his house. What about your neighborhood? Has he served you? Then what about serving your neighbors? What about serving the houses in your neighborhood? When you think about your city, what does it look like for you to serve your city? And I just want to quickly remind us, just a little side note, I don't serve to win God's love. I serve because I've been won by God's love. I want to say that one more time. I don't serve to win God's love. We serve because I've been won by God's love. It continues. Truly, truly, I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Jesus was a great leader, but even more so, he was a humble servant. Jesus was a great leader, but even more so, he was a humble servant. And what's scary sometimes for me and maybe for you is sometimes we can have an attitude of, well, that's kind of beneath me. I don't need to touch that. I'm kind of beyond that. I mean, come on, I've done that before. I served in the church a long time ago doing a bunch of stuff. It's time for someone else now to kind of, step up. And, that's someone, I have people to do those things. Do you know who I am? You're like, do you know who I am? Do you know what I do? It's really easy for us to fall into this status trap. Service is not about status. We have to remember who the boss of all bosses is. Jesus, the greatest, picked up a bucket. Nothing was beneath him. We must be willing to pick up a bucket and be led by the Spirit of the living God to serve. And then, last verse here. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. If we could grasp this, and I know sometimes it's so hard, right? Because it's all about me. If we grasp this, blessed are you if you actually follow through. The weight of your life will be ultimately measured by the way you serve others. The weight of your life and my life will be ultimately measured by the way we serve others. I'm almost 40. It's weird saying that. I'm 38, I think. Yeah, I'm 38. And years ago, I think it was 5 years ago, my wife gave me wrinkle cream. I mean, I'm starting to put wrinkle cream around my eyes and stuff. It's getting crazy out here. And, These days, in my life, I tend to do more funerals. And every funeral I've been at, so far, I've never seen families gathering around the casket saying, man, what a car he had. What a house. What a 401k. What a bank account, man. I mean, what the parties they used to throw, he used to throw, she used to throw. You don't hear that around the casket. But what's amazing when I'm at funerals is when I hear people talk about, man, it's amazing how he or she gave their life away for others. Those are the ones that stand out to me. Being willing, being people to give it away for the sake of others. For some of you college students or young professionals, you've lived a quarter of your life. And you got 3 quarters to go, Lord willing. What are you living it for? Don't waste it. Don't waste it. You have such precious time. Are you going to make it all about you? All about self? Or are you going to make it about serving others, giving your life away for the sake of others? Some of you are half-timers. It's crazy. I'm 40. I mean, maybe I'll make it to 60, 70. I don't know. But I mean, these half-timers, and some of you are like, man, my first half didn't go so well. Well, we know in sports, right? The second half is always better. And so we can make up for lost time. We have an opportunity. How are you going to live the second half of your life? For yourself? Or for something way bigger than that? To give your life away for others. What about the 3/4 timers right now? You're in double overtime. And sometimes I talk to folks that are in double overtime and they feel like, well, God can't use me. If you have breath in your lungs and you're hearing me right now, God is not done with you. He wants to continually use you. Is it right now all about you? Or are you continually giving your life away on behalf of others? I'll close with this. Sometimes, I like to have a little fun. I like to tease. And a lot of times people, when people ask you when you're out in public, will you take my picture? It's like, oh yeah, sure. Let me stop for a moment what I'm doing and I'm going to take your picture. So when I do that, especially if I'm helping out at my parents' farm, I take a lot of pictures for people, and just for fun, what I do is I'm like, okay, all get together. Okay, everyone get together. All right, move in a little bit closer. Okay, a little bit closer. Okay, all right, 1, 2, 3. Awesome, got it. All right, thanks, guys. And then I hand them back their phone and I walk away. And then they grab their phone and they go into their phone and they look at the pictures and they're like, he had it stuck on selfie mode, and then I come back and I tease them. It's a big joke. You should try it. It's really fun. Don't get to the end of your life realizing that you've only been stuck on selfie mode. It's really easy to sometimes even false serve, to think that we're really serving, but really we're only doing it for ourselves. Don't get caught at the end of your life being caught up in selfie mode. If you want to have true fulfillment in this life, serve. Serving is life-giving. Don't be someone that sees and then swerves. Let's be people that see and then serve. What does that look like for you? What does that look like for me today and this week? I've been processing that. I mean, let's let this sink in. When it comes to see then serve, when it comes to our house, let's go to the next slide here. When it comes to our house, what does it look like for you right now to serve your house into the inner core of your life? What does that look like? When it comes to serving God's house, are you serving God's house? Look, we're in a season in our church where people are serving every single week because of COVID, because it's like a skeleton crew around here. We need help. God's church needs to continually thrive, and he uses us for some crazy reason to be a part of it. But man, when we get a front row seat on it, it is life-giving. And your neighbor's house. What does it look like to serve your neighbors? What does it look like to serve your city, the houses that are around our city? What does that look like? Serving is life-giving. And Jesus loved you and I so much that he served us by giving his life away so that we could have life. Have you experienced that life? Have you received that life? Have you allowed him to wash you of your sin? If you haven't, I don't know what you're waiting for. He is calling out to you right now to receive him. He loves you. He died for you and he rose again for you. And so I want to give you that opportunity wherever you're watching right now to be washed. Jesus literally humbled himself for you and for me, and not only washes our nasty feet, but he washes away our nasty sin. And so wherever you're watching right now, I just want to encourage you. You can close your eyes, you can open your eyes. And I just want to lead you through a real prayer, a conversation to him. If you want to be washed clean, if you want your sins to be canceled in this moment right now by him, just say, Father, here I am. God, here I am. Say, I confess my sins to you. Tell him that. I believe that you, Jesus, are God. Thank you for dying in my place to pay for my sin. Tell him that. Thank you for dying in my place to pay for my sin. Thank you for rising again for me. And then say, right now I lower my pride and I surrender my life to you. Right now I receive you, Jesus, in to my life. As we continue to pray, I need you to hear me. If you truly meant that, the scriptures tell us that you will no longer perish, but will have everlasting life. Father, we love you. We need you. Thank you so much for modeling to us, being the example of humbly serving, picking up buckets. God, forgive us of our pride that we so easily think that maybe we're too good for something. Thank you for being the great model. Help us to be people that are more about serving than being people that are all about swerving. We need you. We need your strength. We pray this in the power of your Son's name, Jesus. Amen.
What a great message from Travis on seeing and then serving and putting others before ourselves. And so every Sunday after the message, we like to give you a few moments. We tell you to take 5, take a personal inventory of what God's doing in your heart. So we're going to put on a song. We're going to have a question on the screen. And the question is, how are you serving? How are you serving your house, God's house, and your neighbor's house? So take the next few moments and process that question. Well, we hope you took time to process that question in your own life. We're so glad that we get to be with you on these Sundays. A couple things before we go. One, don't forget Boo at the Burrows this Friday.
Yes, and if you have kids, remember they can watch Kid City anytime at milescity.com/kids.
And when you see a mile sign,
Pray for the Mile City.
See you guys next week.